Alright. I suppose we can like try to quickly start with your senses, see if there's anything else down here, but it does not appear as though that is the case, unless we can like go through any of these locked doors to go in someone else's cell.
Problems will be solved once and for all.
Pretty sure he means we're about to get hanged.
Do you know where this leads?
No. Hope it's the exit, though.
You guessed it. The thing is, there are different kinds of exits.
Yeah,
Some
that's
walk
kind of
this
the thing.
path to freedom. Others walk it straight into eternity.
Which am I headed for?
I don't know. Yet one thing is certain. You will never walk this path again.
Okay. That's one way of putting it. So, it is certainly starting to look as though there is a non-zero and increasingly large probability that we may die. And by we may die, I mean Geralt may actually canonically die at the end of this, this pathway.
Mark Dubois, you are hereby judged guilty of trampling Alice Valref, the cupbearer's wife, while on horseback.
How dare you?
The woman's condition is critical.
It was an accident. I was riding fast through, but she jumped out in front of me.
In light of the above, there can be but one sentence. Death by decapitation.
Yeah?
No, I didn't do anything! Help! There must be witnesses!
Off with his head.
That may be the fate that awaits us as well.
Next. Paul, the Witcher, take him to the tower. That's an order.
Freedom or death?
An order's an order. Guess you're not next after all. Follow me. You're supposed to follow me.
Why do you make me watch that execution?
So you'd know this is no almshouse for lost orphan boys.
Wanted me to think I was next. Enjoy that? Getting a rise out of folk?
You guessed it. The harlots' hounds that land here, I detest them. So I do everything in my power so they'll know they're in the clink, not on holiday.
Alright, if you say so. Just keep our Witcher senses on here in case we happen to find anything that might help us break out. Out of curiosity, we may be, we may have our hands tied right now, but we can loot some herbs. Anything over here, by any chance? Eh?
Now, why did you have to go and do that?
Look, I mean, it wasn't my fault. You see, the Beast of Beauclair, he's fast. And, you know, we did kind of expect him to try to kill people, but at the end of the day, he just did it before we could stop him. And it may or may not have been the case that, oh, so we're actually supposed to go up there? Hold on. May or may not have been the case that, the person that he tried to kill was, you know, the second most important person in the entire, duchy, but, you know, that's incidental. Minor detail. Anything else over here? Anything that might say help us break out? Well, I mean, we could try making a jump for it, but I'm not sure we would succeed. Is that Damien over there?
I've brought the prisoner, sir.
I think it is.
Unbind him and leave us. Greetings, Witcher.
Your face doesn't look good. Though, looked even worse last time I saw you.
I apply an arnica extract. I can hardly feel it anymore. But my scars pale in comparison to the fate Sienna met with. The fate that was your doing.
Not exactly. Let me stop you right there.
I trusted you. And how did you repay me? Consider it, Witcher. Why do you think the Duchessa had Sienna hidden away to start with? Can you guess?
That's not exactly
sorry.
how that worked.
Might not believe me, but couldn't have predicted that turn of events. Certainly never wanted that.
Enough. We shall speak of it no more.
Guess there's been a decision in my case.
Truly, is that all you care about? Your own hide?
I mean, we're potentially about to be hanged, so yeah, that's kind of important right now. Yeah, our life, yeah, we kind of care about that. But we could potentially, I would say, like, if we take the selfish and blatantly obvious approach, then that might just well, confirm what seems to be the inevitable that we do, in fact, die here, either get decapitated or hanged. But maybe if we just sort of, like change the subject a little bit, and we might earn some sympathy points here or there, or might find some potential other ways to get ourselves out of this situation.
Not only. Also care how the Duchess feels, for example. And I hope that, unlike you, she doesn't blame this all on me.
A court heard your case, not Anna Henrietta. The facts are as follows. You were hired to kill the beast.
True.
Not only did you fail in that endeavor,
That's true.
but you also caused the death of our Duchessa's sister.
Not necessarily
Have I
true.
missed anything? I'll have you know that were it up to me, you would rot in our dungeon until your dying day.
Glad you didn't have the deciding vote then.
Ooh.
At any rate, I am not the best person to tell you what was decided in your matter. I'd say the man who worked hardest to tip the scales in your favor should.
Regis?
What are you talking about? What man?
No.
Dandelion?
Dandelion?
Jeez, Geralt, you look like you've seen a ghost.
A ghost wouldn't have surprised me half this much, I promise you. What are you doing in Beauclair?
What brings him here?
Officially, visiting Henrietta. That is to say, the Duchess. We're old friends, but you know that. Unofficially, I'm saving your hiney.
You?
That's... You
You're
seem
a
to be
persona
doing.
non grata in Toussaint. Undesirable.
Didn't stop me from risking my skin for you. In my book, friendship is all that matters. Well, friendship and love. And art. Oh, and wine.
Now, I did not see this coming. I'll give you that, Dandelion. How did you know we were here?
How'd you even know I was in prison?
Regis came to see me right after they locked you up. I mean, Regis, right? Can you believe that? To come back after... Amazing. He told me everything, and naturally, I couldn't possibly leave you to rot in there.
Alright, okay. How exactly did you manage to get us out? Also, we are currently still standing in the prison, so, can we maybe, confirm, truthfully, that we can get out of here before we start talking about being freed?
Take it I'm free, thanks to you. How'd you manage it?
Oh, I have my ways. Took a little persuasive logic, blended in some deft rhetoric, then added a generous pinch of charm, and voila, you're free.
You know, Dandelion, at least on this
But just so
occasion,
you
I gotta
know,
give it to you.
it
You
wasn't
got the job
easy.
done, it seems.
In fact, it was pretty damn hard. Duchess was so furious, I think she even forgot she'd banished me from Beauclair. For life. All she could do was scream that you'd never set foot outside that dungeon again.
How'd you
Okay.
get her to take a fresh look at things?
I appealed to the faultless intentions that guided you, to your reputation, your accomplishments, and, well, ultimately she changed her mind, and you're free. Never wants to see you again, but
I mean, that's
even got
understandable.
her to leave your vineyard with you. You won't get a copper of your promised reward, but you'll keep your estate.
That's surprising.
Dandelion, you're a regular master of diplomacy. Thanks.
You know, that's not
Listen,
wrong.
You do whatever needs doing, but I've got to get to the cemetery. Henrietta's in bad shape with Sienna dead.
And I
Some
imagine
folk forget
we
that
are
under
not
the
visiting
ducal
it.
regalia, she's
She
just
doesn't
an
want to see us.
ordinary woman who's lost a loved one.
Let's see. So, I suppose, how's Priscilla doing? Wow. It has been a long time since we last talked with Dandelion, wasn't it? And, so, last we were seeing and talking to or about Priscilla, she'd gotten attacked by, what was his name? Hubert Rick? I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but, right? The, coroner in Novigrad. And so she got pretty significantly, pretty seriously injured. And it looked like she might never fully recover. At least at the time, it seemed, but a lot of time has passed since then.
Been meaning to ask you, how's Priscilla?
All right. Recovering steadily from the horror she's been through.
So, you two, you're still...
Of course we are. How could you even think it was otherwise?
No idea.
I mean, it's just you are you,
within the realm
Dandelion.
of possibilities. But please be careful not to lead Anna Henrietta on. Suggest you've come here for any reason beyond getting me out of my predicament.
The bond between the Duchess and myself is one of pure friendship, nothing more.
You sure about that?
Now, off to console a friend in need.
All right, in that case, well, thank you immensely, Dandelion, and we will see you later.
All right. See you later.
See you, Geralt.
What a bro.
Off we go. You'll collect your things at the door. Follow me to the exit.
Alright. I suppose we're heading on out in that case. And for a minute there... Oh, 1 second here. We were checking these just a minute ago, were we not? Now suddenly there's actually wine in them? Just steal from the prison that we've only just gotten freed from while we're at it, right? In fact, let's, you know, take a second here. Just see if there's anything else in the area. Just in case, right? Just in case. It's not like those guards are gonna do anything to stop us. It's not like they're gonna see. It's not like they're gonna catch on, right? It's not like they're gonna turn right around and re-imprison us and all of our efforts to get freed are lost. Surely not, right? 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 Anything else? Eh? Anyone have anything to say to us now? Now that we're a free man? Huh?
Witcher.
Alright, well, it looks like this is our way out.
Your things are past the first gate. Take them, leave them. I don't really give a fig.
That may be the first time I've ever used someone, or heard someone use the word fig in that context. Alright, well, yep, here is everything. Like, quite literally everything we own. Don't mind if we do. And, can we go through here? That doesn't seem like it. No, that's locked. Can't go back in! No! I mean, not that we ever really want to go back in. Is that a smile, Geralt? We know this random person that happens to be walking past us? No, apparently not. They are truthfully just a random person. Ah, we know that guy, though.
Smile so wide. Someone's liable to see. Could mean trouble.
I can't help myself. Just so glad to see you.
Glad to see you too, my vampire friend.
Geralt, keep your voice down. There are people around. Well, thanks for intervening. I mean, at first I was thinking maybe that Regis was going to be one of the ones that gave us the good word and made it so that we could escape. Then again, we've heard Regis say in the past that because he is a vampire, he needs to be careful where he pokes his head in, because if he gets himself in too deep, then his secret could get out, and then he's in a whole world of trouble. So it turns out it was Dandelion. But he did tell Dandelion, I suppose.
True, he was not at first terribly eager to face the Duchess, but I managed to persuade him his person was indispensable.
Well played. Dandelion loves being indispensable.
Yet he so rarely is, poor man.
Oh. Well, this time, I think it is safe to say he truly was. How are things going on your end, though? I mean, we were saying it at the time. In many ways, this is sort of, although, perhaps, I would say, the worst ending we've seen, at least for Geralt. In many ways, you could make the case the best ending for Regis, because, at the very least, Dettlaff survived. And he doesn't have to personally kill him?
What did you do while
While you vegetated in that correctional facility, I used the time to
That's one way to put it.
Wish to know what I thought about?
Of course.
The relationship between two numbers. Dettlaff's 4 victims and the 5 chivalric virtues.
Oh,
As you
right.
no doubt noted, there's a difference of 1.
Oh, we're not done yet.
Mean to tell me, after all we've figured out, that you now believe in the whole 5 virtues punished theory?
Belief's got nothing to do with it. It's cold logic, deduction. Syanna went to great lengths to make folk believe the beast was punishing those who betrayed the virtues. Were I in her shoes, I'd make sure the number of victims matched. Are you not at all curious who was meant to be the 5th?
This is
If I
interesting.
say yes, what then?
Then you'll come with me for another chat with the bootblack. You see, I've learned he delivered the notes to Dettlaff. Our search starts with him.
Okay, so, this is very interesting. Of course, we know who that 5th victim was supposed to be. We also know who was originally supposed to do it. take out that victim, and was going to take out that victim after the Beast, the original killer, was indisposed. But, this time we definitely do need to do it. Okay.
Fine, see what he has to say. Could use a good walk, work out the kinks if nothing else.
Come then.
I'm very interested to see how this will change, because I think it could be a fair bit different. So, of course, we have this conversation with the boot black. This may not differ, but it's more so the results after this.
Etch you up, then spat you out. Are you here for a spiffing? Boots make the man, they say. Step on up.
Need to ask you something.
Yet again? Go on then. I'm a proponent of free speech and I will gladly tell you all I know. But why not get your boots shanked while we jabber?
We may not need to, but it does change the last conversation. Okay, I think in that case it is probably still worth it.
Then I shall take advantage as well. A friend of mine used to say boots should be as clean as the soles that wear them.
Look at that. Did we auto-equip our... Oh no, it automatically equipped our boots because we otherwise would have been barefoot, right? I think we were barefoot before we started this conversation. Because we didn't have any shoes on when we were in the prison. So we have all of our rags and then our nice Grandmaster Cat School Witcher boots.
Man in the frock coat. You passed him some letters, remember?
So this is interesting because in this situation, Detloff is still alive. That means the original intended killer actually is theoretically still capable of doing so, but probably doesn't have the motive to do so anymore.
How'd you get those letters?
It's the secondary killer who is no longer capable of doing the deed.
Beggars. Tell us more about them. How many were there?
Why, 4. 1 for each letter.
Just 4? Sure you didn't get a 5th?
I can't count, you know.
Remember anything else? These beggars have anything?
It auto-equips boots if you're not wearing them. I think that's exactly what happened here.
Some had mismatched boots, others had no boots at all. Oh, I know! They all had no home!
Kid, my patience is starting to run a little thin. Now think hard.
Okay, so, do you remember what they looked like?
Remember what they looked like?
Of course. I've a mind like a steel trap, as I said. They were ragged, unshaved. Their clothes were tattered. As to their boots, well, I mentioned that already.
Geralt, allow me to ask a question. Listen, lad. I'll be glad to mix another batch of that boot shine for you. But you must focus now and tell us all you know. Where can we find the beggars?
Well, at the shelter, most like.
Where's that?
Everyone knows.
Yeah, and we can skip through this, that is true. We have, of course, heard this conversation several times at this point. So, in which case...
Look around inside.
This does look pretty ridiculous with the boots and the rags. I'm curious, actually. Take a look here. It is prisoner's shirt and the prisoner's trousers. We can actually put glyphs on the shirt. That's kind of hilarious that we could actually upgrade the shirt. I'm kind of tempted to do that. I mean, we do have some glyphs to spare, right? We could legitimately put glyphs on this. I'm kind of intrigued. What if we go through the rest of the game, or at least as far as we can go, with wearing these rags? Because I'm curious to see if I'm just hanging out with the Duchess when we're in rags like this. Because remember, in the other endings, they made this big deal about, oh, we're going to give you these fancy clothes because that's what you should have if you're going to see the Duchess and go through this prestigious ceremony. And then here we are. This time we're just going to show up with a bunch of rags. Okay, let's do this, and let's throw on what do we still have a good version of? With plenty of these Igni glyphs, so I guess sure we'll make this a very fiery prisoner shirt. Okay, but you're saying only slow down once we actually get the paper, otherwise we can basically zoom on through here. Okay, that makes sense.
You've to move your little camp elsewhere, got
Alright, so we have seen this many times before. So we will skip through this conversation here. And basically,
Decent folk.
as we know, these guys are going to try to pick a fight with us. Looks like we're dealing less damage. Maybe it was just that we got a tiny little hit on one of those guys. That's one of the few times I've ever deliberately thrown a heavy punch in one of these fistfights. Along with that, I don't like it too greedy though. There we go, untouched. Take that.
I could take a hint. Come, time to go.
I thank you so much for your aid. I tried to reason with
Oh
them,
right, I
but
forgot
they
that we can let
made
them
me
beat us up.
know
I
I do
forgot.
not
I'm
come
sorry.
along. I'm grateful.
I just got a little carried away, is all.
What did they want from you?
They are neighbors. Wish me to take my
Alright, but we should be able to skip through
shelter.
this.
I do.
Need some information.
They both black.
Any of your...
Forgive me. You can question.
Thanks. We'll wait. Nice of you to let us.
Okay, so we will get the
My
information
dears,
that we're looking for
Listen.
here, which again, we have
does
seen this many
anyone
times
know
before.
what the gentleman means? Go on, speak.
It's only until we actually
should I
get the
scream?
note itself that we'll need to
You
start
can tell me.
locking in.
I got one.
I still have.
Okay, so give us the letter.
It's a matter of importance to the duchy. Hand it over, or I'll take it from you. Plain and simple.
But I was to deliver it personally. Let no one else see it. That is what she said, and she was frightening.
You ought to heed, folk.
Okay, so we just need to make sure we get it from this guy, which we now have.
Damn it.
What is it? Another name, truly?
See for yourself.
Well, well. I must say, even I did not expect this. This time you will see to our Duchessa. It seems we underestimated Sienna rather grossly.
Yeah, but then with
Judging
no
by
Sienna
this,
and no Detloff,
Detloff was literally supposed to tear her heart out.
what comes of
But
this?
first you must snap her neck. Puzzling.
Yeah, so what does that mean in this situation? Is there anyone to finish the job?
Duchess was to be Detloff's last victim. Sienna planned it from the start.
Indeed. The logical conclusion, Geralt.
4 seemingly random victims to start. The virtue's their only link. Enough to get folk talking about a righteous, vengeful beast. Obscured the victims' links to Sienna, even as she had those she despised killed off one by one, leaving the Duchess for last.
Had she managed to fulfill her plan, none would have questioned the reasons. Most would have thought Anna Henrietta had died for her sins. She was known to show a hard heart on many occasions. Ample proof of a lack of compassion.
Why would Sienna murder her own sister? Out of envy? To take power? From an inborn penchant for evil?
And all the above?
Yes, yes, and yes. All those make sense, and none are mutually exclusive.
But this is the big question, is the Duchess really safe now? With Detloff theoretically gone, and Sienna dead,
Can only guess what drove Sienna. Luckily, Anna Henrietta's safe now.
I believe
Do
you
we
may
know that?
dare to assume so. Sienna's death was also the death of the Duchessa's only natural rival. She is in no danger, for now.
Pretty rare thing
Hopefully.
for a ruler.
So yeah, in that case, what now?
What do we do now?
Do we at least inform her of
Now
that?
we drink. Unless that is
Or
you
we
feel
drink.
a witchly duty to see the Duchess and tell her what we just learned.
I think we need to inform the Duchess, right? Surely we should do this. I mean, that being said, she does hate us right now, but in some ways, all the more intriguing to see what she has to say to us for that reason. I think we go for it, right?
Think this might be something Anna Henrietta
And I want to see if we
should
can
know.
visit her in these
As you
rags.
wish. I shall await you at Mare la Chaiselongue, a mug of mandrake brew to keep me company.
Not coming with?
No. After the horror Detlaff brought down upon the city, and in light of Sienna's death, I think it wiser not to appear at the palace.
Probably right. See you later then.
Before heading to the palace, you might wish to see if Anna Henrietta is not at the city cemetery. She spent a great deal of time at her sister's grave these last days.
I mean, we could try. Then again, she does still hate us now. So, in some ways, you know, we were sort of, kind of, supposed to just avoid her altogether. So we tell Anna Henrietta about our last contract, and that's one way to put it. I'm curious as to whether it actually directs us to... No, it does direct us to the cemetery. It does not even take us to the palace. But I suppose... Ellen, I suppose that's just where we find her. Just in the cemetery rather than the palace. So let's maybe put a marker there as well.
Ow!
Although, tell you the truth, we, more than anything, we just want to know where the closest fast travel spot is to us. Maybe San Sebastian here? Go there first instead? So yeah, this will be interesting to see how this part plays out, because as Regis was saying there, I suppose that, technically speaking, the Duchess is safe without Sienna or Detloff to try to murder her? So that's good, right? Kinda, sorta. Does this Metna gate actually have a gate here that we can go through that will take us to cemetery, or is maybe this actually faster? Maybe we just go with this one. Alright, so, now let's head in. And we did technically level up. I think this was a while back, not that this is super relevant at this point, but for the sake of spending this last skill point, huzzah, it has been spent. Okay. So now we just make our way into the graveyard, and this is, of course, in one of the timelines, the place we visited to see the Duchess's grave. But on this occasion, Duchess still living, thankfully. Sienna, not so much, though. Can we get through the door, please? Can we get through the door, please? We cannot actually, we legitimately cannot get through. There we go. Thanks, doors. They're like, excuse me? We're not supposed to let this, Geralt of Rivia through?
Geralt, why have you come? Forgotten already? The murderer you were to kill lives, while the Duchess's sister lies dead.
Wouldn't have come if I didn't have to. Promise you that. But I've learned something. Something that might interest Anna Henrietta.
Forgive me if I lend no credence to your word.
Found a letter Sienna wrote to the murderer.
Very well. You may enter. But I make no promises as regards the Duchessa. She mourns her sister in the ducal crypt. Viscount de Lettenhove is with her.
I don't remember who that is, but sure. Oh, that's Dandelion.
Remember, my dear Henrietta, despair is like a stormy sky. Sooner or later, the sun must drive away the clouds.
That is easy for you to say. The one murdered was not your sister.
My life hasn't exactly been a bed of roses. True, my sister wasn't murdered. Don't even have a sister, actually, but many times I've lost. Unimportant.
Your Grace.
The impudence you must harbor to come in here after all that's happened.
Calm down. I'm sure Geralt's got a very good reason. Right, Geralt?
No, we just stopped by to say hello. We have something particularly important to tell you. It's kind of about your sister. It's in many ways also just as much about you.
Before you start dumping accusations on me, I think you should know something. Sienna, she was a vicious, wicked woman.
Who are you to tell me who my own sister was?
Hey, that was a little harsh, though, Geralt.
You hired to investigate the Beast of Beauclair. And I found a letter your sister wrote to the murderer.
Really? Maybe you should read it then. It could be important.
You read it, Dantelai. Aloud to me.
This time you must see to our Duchessa. Anna Henrietta knows nothing of empathy. Her heart is cold. This shard of ice you must tear from her breast.
Harsh.
My
Harsh
sister could never
words.
have written that.
Got proof she did.
No. I don't believe you. I don't believe it. Someone seeks to blacken her in my eyes. I won't allow it.
There, Henrietta. Don't get upset.
The letter is vile. It's slander. You must destroy it. Do you hear? No one else must ever read it. Ever!
Consider it done.
And you, out! Get out of here! This is all you're doing! Begone, hear me! I never wish to see you again!
Okay, sorry.
I should never believe she did this. She was not capable. This is an outrage, Dandelion. Tell him it's not true. Tell him it's a dirty lie.
See, but the thing is, like, it's not.
Geralt, get out of here, please. The Duchess, she needs to be alone.
As to her enlightened highness, didn't go great.
Yeah, you
Got
could
the
say
full
that.
Kaleidoscope of her emotional states. Spun through it at an impressive pace, too.
Yeah, and given how she was very defensive of her sister, somewhat be expected that she would not be
Got that right.
so ready to accept that her sister had in fact planned to kill her.
Smooth things over, somewhat.
As you know, I had little sympathy for Sienna. Nonetheless, I very much regret I could not keep her safe. To you, her ultimate fate, does it still bring on the occasional pang of regret?
Yep. Still.
Well then, drink up.
Okay, well, I mean, we did ask Regis about this previously. Basically, just a reference to how, well, drinking off our problems, much simpler of a solution than we might typically expect from him, but, I mean, Dettlaff is gone. There's that, right? And, I mean, Sienna may be dead, but she was someone who was planning a coup d'etat, and so that she was also a dangerous person to have around.
Beauclair seems safe now, though I'm still left wondering. I mean, Dettlaff's alive. Think Anna Henrietta's still in danger?
No. He had a score to settle with Sienna. By his reckoning, he did just that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the
He
case.
has no reason to attack anyone else.
It was never his motivation to do it. That was never his motivation to do it.
Sure hope so. Though in his boots, I'd regret having to go. Place is just plain beautiful, damn it.
Supreme bouquet. Firm, defined beginning, then develops gently, rising to a startling finish. Don't you think?
Not much of a connoisseur.
Then it is high time you started your education. After all, the Corvo Bianco vineyard is now yours.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get our financial reward, but she did allow us to keep the vineyard, surprisingly.
Stand.
Thanks. Mind telling me what it is?
A trifle. That will nonetheless be useful should you need mutagens. Incidentally, have you thought about what you'll do with your prize? Shall you hang your swords over the mantle and take to pruning vines?
Okay, so I think the first time we said we didn't know. Second time we said we'd settle down. I don't think we've yet said that we are made to kill monsters.
No, just not the life for me. Sure, might stop by there occasionally, stay the winter, fill up on wine. But I'd rather keep moving. It's not a choice being a witcher. And once you are one, you're one for life. You can't just step off the path. Besides, plenty of work left for me in the world. Ghouls aren't gonna kill themselves.
I suppose so.
Managing a vineyard wouldn't happen to be something you've always wanted to try, would it?
Interesting
I'm
idea.
flattered, Geralt, I am. But no, I too was not made to saunter about in a robe and slippers.
But at least in this situation, he doesn't need to
Rather
flee
droll, isn't
Toussaint,
it,
so
that
it's
each
theoretically
time we
possible.
meet, something harrowing must happen. I can remember a night, not too far from here if I'm not mistaken. We hid in a cave while a blizzard raged all about. Does that sound at all familiar?
How could it not? We just set off to rescue Ciri from Vilgefortz.
Oh, our encounter with Vilgefortz. That is something I do not remember so fondly. But that first stay in Beauclair, far calmer than this one.
Seemed like a land straight out of a fairy tale back then. Its sole problem, cellars too small to accommodate all that wine.
Appearances, Geralt. Appearances, like Mamoons and Dopplers, deceive. So what did become of Vilgefortz?
Apparently we brutally murdered him.
Killed him. Sure wasn't easy, though.
Alright, I suppose... actually, yeah, let's make sure that we ask what Regis is planning to do now, because this is the one scenario in which Detloff did not die, he just fled, and so, in theory, it's, like we were saying before, it's sort of the... Ideal is maybe a strong word, but it's a pretty good outcome for Regis specifically.
What about
Might that
you
change
now?
his outlook?
Got a plan?
I do. I must find Detloff.
Yeah.
Help him. I certainly owe him that much.
Vampire friendships. Clear rules. Must be nice.
Do I detect a note of sarcasm?
Ooh.
Not
Maybe.
at all.
No? Not this time. But anyways, let's sit back.
I so don't feel like going anywhere. Sit here a while longer?
And with that...
So we shall, my friend. We have witnessed, and in fact on several occasions incited, many great and weighty events. After all that toil, I believe we deserve a bit of a rest.
We reach...
That we do.
The final ending of our Witcher 3 playthrough. Yeah, was it in our first playthrough we had something that we couldn't find in Geralt's room that sounds vaguely familiar? I think that's what it was. That would be the one thing that we would have liked to have been able to do at the end that we just, for whatever reason, we weren't able to do. It maybe seemed like the game might have bugged out at the time. So that would be, I mean, the one thing if we were to feel like, you know, we would like to go back and check something else out. Of course, I have no idea how significant that may or may not be. I think we did still manage to see the gift that Regis gave us. We did manage to find that. And we, of course, talked with, well, actually, hold on. Can we give that a shot at the end here?
Actually, I'd love to go home.
Hold on just a second. Can we, potentially, still head back over to Corvo Bianco and see if we can find that this time around? Is that still possible? Because it may be. I mean, for a while there, I was thinking it's because we were getting imprisoned and potentially going to get decapitated or hanged. I was wondering if maybe there just would not be an ending in which we could try to do those types of things with this playthrough, this ending. So I thought, well, maybe that ship has sailed. There's no chance to try it again, but I mean, in theory, we can go back to Corvo Bianco here, so we could try. Since we skipped a scene in the main game, it won't be as important to us. Oh, okay. I can read between the lines a little bit there. I think I may know what you're getting at. But anyways, so, of course, we've already had the conversations with just about everyone here in our first playthrough. But does that mean the big thing we're looking for is just to go to our room and see if there's anything else there that we did not see our first time around?
Some unknown individual barged into the residence. I resisted as best I could, but to no avail.
Who is it?
Alas,
They did not do me the basic courtesy of introducing themselves.
I forget, did this happen last time? Hello?
Unexpected as ever.
Ah, yes. Okay. Of course.
And beautiful as ever.
Won't you even ask why I've come? Or how I found you?
Wouldn't get a straight answer anyway.
Quite true.
Oh yeah,
Used
I
to
mean,
bother
that
me,
is
all
right.
your secrets. Now I know if you have something to tell me, you'll tell me. Don't need to ask.
I missed you, Geralt. Madly.
That's sweet.
Come outside. We can hold hands and stare at the sky.
Just
like some
not a
shitty
sentence I ever thought I'd
two-pound
hear
romance.
coming out of Yen's lips. Okay, so, I mean, technically speaking, we have had, I believe, all these conversations with her before. So we really wanted to, we could just walk away and head straight over to our room and see if we can find that thing that we were not able to find last time. Ask the last question at least? Okay. I mean, this of the 3 endings that we did, probably the least happy of them all, but I suppose at the end of the day, we did still get to keep the estate. So it's sort of a happy ending of sorts.
Ever thought this day would come? Me and you, peace and quiet. Bees buzzing, birds chirping.
I almost regret delaying so long before coming to you. I was quite the silly goose.
Ah, you silly
You
goose.
have doubts? Though I imagine it might have been hard coming after me. Always were proud as a peacock.
Please, Geralt. I'm not like other sorceresses to feel that following someone means my wings have been clipped.
Ooh, watch what you say about your colleagues. Remember, it's an ill bird that fouls its own nest.
Well said, Witcher. You're not only handsome, but wise, too. I feel a bit like the cat that got the canary.
Yeah, and I'm... Damn it, you win. This time.
Ha!
How'd that start, anyway? Our duels and wordplay.
Forgotten. It was at a vernissage in Banard. You started it to keep from going mad with boredom. I remember finding your sense of humor both groan-worthy and somehow endearing.
And hence, the dad
Never
jokes.
change, Geralt. I beg you.
Alright, so having asked that one, are we now potentially good to go, or do we think we might need to ask her about these other things as well in order to make sure that we can potentially see whatever it is that we're supposed to find in our room? Third question, actually? Okay, let's try this then.
You know, feels kinda strange having a home.
I must say I never pictured you owning real estate.
Was something of an accident, but I'm not about to complain. Yen, back then, before we fought the hunt, said you wanted to run away with me to the world's end. This vineyard, good enough?
Yes, although there's one thing missing.
Namely,
I shall give you a hint. It's large, white, has 4 legs, category taxidermy.
So this is the
yeah.
thing,
the unicorn.
is it not?
Fine. You can bring it down here.
I knew you'd see things my way.
Okay, so now we've confirmed with Yen that it's okay to bring the unicorn in, which I think, as you guys were saying, we missed out on a scene with it earlier. But perhaps it can make a cameo appearance at the end. So, I'm assuming that was the thing that we missed out on our first go-round, and that if we head back to our room, we hopefully We'll find it there now. Now meditate 3 full days.
So, talk again later.
Of course. I'm not
Here
going
before we
anywhere.
go inside. Okay. Let's save now, just to play it safe. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Maybe... now? Interrupt the game as it's trying to tell us we completed a quest. Okay, so game saved. Now we meditate. For 3 days, you say? You know, it's not easy to deliver an entire unicorn, I might say. So, it takes some time. Okay, so this will be just under 3, and then we'll just want to do a little bit more to actually do a full 3 days here. This should do the trick. Okay. So now that we've done that meditation, let's see if we can head into our room. And, step aside, old man.
Well, Witcher, without you, Toussaint would be in a sore state. Oh.
Witcher without you, Toussaint would be in a sore state. I mean, probably still could have been better. But let's see. I don't know. There's the mutagenerator, which is the gift that we got from Regis. We have already seen it before. In case you forgot, it is, Dear Geralt, if you are reading these words, it means I am already far beyond the borders of Toussaint, and you have found my mutagenerator. Of course, you may dub this instrument however you like, perhaps something more fitting to your taste or better reflecting its function. For I have no doubt your knowledge of the subject of mutagens is far more profound and thorough than mine. I've been working on this device in my spare time, but now it is finished, and I am convinced as an inventor can be before his invention has been used as intended, of the usefulness of this apparatus. You are surely wondering what function it is meant to serve. As the name indicates, the mutagenerator generates mutagens. It operates by absorbing electromagical energy waves from bodies, in this case the bodies of the monsters and evildoers you kill, and when it has absorbed enough so as to be charged a critical amount, the mutagenerator changes the stored energy into a greater mutagen, which, I suspect, you will make good use of. As you surely understand, I am an amateur engineer, which is why you must forgive the lack of an ability for you to direct this operation. Which mutagen emerges as a result is determined at random, meaning chance will decide if it is a green, red, or blue mutagen. Chance, yet I've noted the colors tend to alternate by and large. I trust you shall find my gift useful. Your dearly devoted friend, Emil Regis Rohelik Terzev Godfrey. Yes, you might be wondering why I decided to toss the mutagenerator into your home instead of simply handing it to you in person. Well, you must know, I did it out of modesty. Believe it or not, take care, Geralt, and may my gift serve you well. So yeah, I don't think we're seeing the, I imagine it's the unicorn, right? That's my guess. In that case, that would be my guess, is that by skipping that scene earlier on in the game, that is something that you need to actually have experienced in order for the unicorn to show up. Otherwise, I mean, there'd be a unicorn in here, and sure, we'd have a little bit of a reference to it from a few conversations with Yen, but it would be a little bit still coming out of nowhere. So I suppose there's some rationale for that. But, with that being said, I believe... Hold on just a moment here. Hold on just a moment. Let's throw back on, for good measure, our final gear here, our cat school gear, and let's break out, maybe... Erendite? Because I believe, with all that being said, we have now finally completed our 3 timelines for The Witcher 3. We've found the timeline in which we go through the Land of a Thousand Fables and successfully get the bracelet that will keep Tiana alive, and gotten our relatively peaceful ending, our canon ending, and I think in some ways that has definitely been, looking back, the ending that I think is probably at least my personal preference as the quote-unquote best ending. So I'm glad that that was, in fact, our original, our official ending in that case. Then we looked at the ending for The Unseen Elder, which was, at times, quite similar, but then, let's just say, at the very end, when it came to the conclusion with Henrietta and her sister, well, things took a drastic turn for the worse there. And then, this time round, it actually... There's a lot more that changed this time. I was surprised. You know, it seemed like such a minor detail to not have that bracelet, and yet it totally changed the outcome of... I mean, we didn't go to the ceremony, we were stuck in this jail, and for a minute there, it looked like we were just going to, well, die. And that was going to be the end of the game. So, I'm glad that at the very least we found a way to get ourselves out of that situation, and of all people, of course, it was Dandelion who bailed us out. And there are 4 different people who could have potentially visited in this occasion. Yeah, I imagine it's probably the different people who you can romance, right? If you're referring to, like, Yennefer versus, I'd imagine Triss would be another person who could show up. Probably Shawnee. Maybe even Ciri in some situations. If you, like, maybe if you didn't romance anybody at all, I suppose. It could have been her, and maybe Kira. Though I'm not sure if she ever sort of rises to the same level of significance as those other people. Oh, true, Shawnee isn't in the base game, so does she not count? She's not included on the list, so in that case, is it, Yen, Triss, Kira, I guess, and Ciri, depending on who you romance, and if you romance no one, it's Ciri. Excuse me, dude, can you, like, move? Do I want to know? I mean, I suppose you could tell me. Right, that's my guess, is that it's the people who you romance, and then, like, if you don't romance, then maybe it's someone other than Ciri. If, who else could it theoretically be? I don't know, maybe one of your friends from Wolf School, like, I would have said Vesemir, but, obviously, probably not. So, maybe Eskel or, Lambert. Yen, Triss, Ciri, and Dandelion. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I suppose... Yeah, you know, Kira, it seems a little bit strange, and that, certainly in our case, she did not play a huge role after she died a little preemptively. But I would have thought that, like, I mean, maybe, even if you do sort of romance her, it's still... don't think it quite rises to that same level of significance as it would with someone like Yen or Triss, so that does make some sense. But anyways... all that being said, that's a long way of saying that this is, in fact, the place, the time, when our entire series is, alas, to come to a close. So, thank you all for watching the Witcher 3 series, and if you watch Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, then, oh man, you've been going for, at this point, a year and a half. We've been playing a whole lot of Witcher, and it has been a lot of fun. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all those of you who gave us the tips and tricks along the way. Did a great job of giving us just enough information while being mindful of, even in your excitement, not spoiling anything too important. So that was huge. Could not have done it without you all, so very much appreciate that. As for what comes next after this, we are continuing to play more Gwent, the Witcher-themed card game, the standalone game for that, and doing some Thronebreaker, which is the Gwent campaign. So there is still some Witcher-themed stuff going on, but other than that, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, the stream, the series, everything, and I'll see you next time.
Even a horse drops if you ride it at a constant gallop.